Hello and welcome to Tech.eu's latest interview. I'm delighted to be joined by Diego Pavía, the CEO of EIT InnoEnergy, an organization brought into being by EIT to supercharge Europe's most promising energy tech startups. We're going to be talking about the nature of that partnership and how InnoEnergy has become a leading figure in Europe in just 15 years. Diego, thank you so much for joining.
Thank you. Good morning.
EIT InnoEnergy has just recently been valued at 1 billion euros. It's an unprecedented achievement for this kind of private-public partnership. Can you give us a brief overview of how EIT InnoEnergy came about and its journey to arrive at this valuation over 15 years?
Yeah, so EIT Energy was founded back in 2009. So we are from what is called the first wave of KICs. And the societal challenge that we're addressing is the energy transition. That's our objective. And is to accelerate that the energy transition happens in Europe with also the consequence of bringing back industry into Europe. So we are a company from day one, meaning that we have shareholders. We are a commercial company for profit, not for dividend. And that has framed all our activities since day one, meaning that everything we do needs to have an impact. And because it has an impact, it has a return, financial return. Even education has got a financial return. For example, since the year 2016, we have been charging our students in our master school for coming to our master school. And today they pay 36,000 euros for coming for 2 years of the master school. That's very relevant in the framing that the EIT gave us back in the days that we have to be financially sustainable. So along the years, we have invested and today we're sitting in around 200 holdings. Holdings meaning that we have equity in as many companies, and it ranges between 5 and 15% of the equity of the companies. This, together with the value of our brand and the value of our ecosystem, has enabled us last year, 2023, to raise 140 million euros from strategic partners, from names like Siemens, like Renault, Volkswagen, CMA, I mean, big stuff, Santander, Société Générale, that after we raise those 140 million euros, our valuation is beyond 1 billion. What makes us outstanding in what we do, and what we do is that we identify early stage capex heavy innovators in sustainable energy, is that we put little money into those startups, but we deliver a lot of added value services. Added value services such as finding customers for them, finding suppliers, influencing the governance, influencing the regulation that will make the business case fly, bringing the technology that might be in the stage of TRL 6 or 5 or 6 into 9 and being commercial viable. And all those services is what makes InnoEnergy standing out compared to any other investor out there. And why have we been able to do this? Because the EIT allows for 7 years, the first 7 years of engagement between the EIT and the KICs, to create the ecosystem of players, being financial institutions, being corporates, being research centers, being universities, being SMEs, the ecosystem of players that enables to deliver those added value services to the innovators. And that's unique. You will not find that neither in Europe, in the rest of the R&D programs of Europe, or in the world. And that uniqueness has to be preserved, because what we have created over the last 15 years, but especially the first 7 years, it's unmatchable.
Wow, yeah, it certainly seems extremely distinguished. Do you think that more of these kind of organizations is something that could really be a catalyst for Europe's climate tech ecosystem?
Well, totally. I mean, this is when you benchmark InnoEnergy with any other similar or analog organization, we're standing out. Examples: we've got 3 unicorns in our portfolio company, in our portfolio of companies. 3 unicorns that the 3 of them were from zero, created in 3 years. You do not find that elsewhere in the world. And so we have proven that it works. We have proven that we are delivering upon the expectations and beyond. So to replicate such kind of enabling frameworks, for me, it will be a must in terms of where to deploy the public money.
I'd love to hear more about those startups. What do you think are some of the most significant innovations that have emerged from EIT InnoEnergy supported projects?
Well, we have, just to give you three examples, as you know, the world has gone from what is called the combustion engine cars into the EV cars. So back in 2016, we already had invested in battery manufacturers that then became the core of the industrial strategy of Europe in battery manufacturing. And here I'm talking from mines to recycling, from mines to PCAM and CAM, sorry for the buzzwords, to cell manufacturing, to the application to recycling. So today we're sitting in 50 of those that are all of them world leaders in what they're doing. Or we're also in crazy things as harvesting the energy from the waves in the sea. Today, renewable sources, as we well know, is PV and wind, but there are all other renewable sources like in the sea, both tidal and wave, that are immense, that have got a capacity factor, that is that they can work 24/7, whereas the sun is only some hours a day and the wind is some hours a day. Well, all the energy coming from the sea, it's 24/7, that is today unexplored and unharvested. So today we have technology that are almost commercial to harvest that energy from the sea. That will be again fully renewable, 24/7 around the clock. So it's very interesting things that we do that, in the years to come, will change the game.
Yeah, absolutely. There's so much promise there. There's something that is so unique about how InnoEnergy and all of the EIT KICs work, and that's this triangular focus on research, business, and education at the same time. You touched on it a little bit earlier. I'd love to hear more about how this kind of framework, how this infrastructure works in practice, what it looks like, and what benefits you've observed from putting it into practice.
Yeah, so many times what the world interprets as the needs of the entrepreneur is that they need money. And even when entrepreneurs, they come to us, we ask them, what do you need? And they say money. And then we ask, money for what? I need money for progressing my technology from TRL, again, that's a buzzword, TRL 5, TRL 6 to TRL 9, that it will be commercially mature. Okay, but that money then you will be spending that with research centers. Yes. Okay, what about me bringing the research centers instead of giving you money that you will be looking for the research centers? Because the research centers I bring to you, they will put you first in line compared to if I give you money and you try to find those research centers. Or, I also need money for recruiting people. Okay, what about me bringing the people that you need to power your technology or your startup instead of me giving you money and then you're looking for people? Oh, that's much smarter. So this is a famous knowledge triangle that in terms of giving the entrepreneurs money, we give them the services that the research guys and the research organizations will give them, the academia will give them in terms of profiles, the industry will give them as customers or suppliers. Is for me, it's the next step where money is just a mean for the goal, and we go directly to the goal for the needs of the entrepreneur.
What are the benefits of that kind of system?
Well, the benefit is efficiency. If you are a small entrepreneur from, let's take Romania, and you want to get a Fraunhofer from Germany to serve you in your technology development, sorry, but you are nobody. If you go through InnoEnergy, then the Fraunhofer guys will put you first to the list. So that's efficiency. That you will not have to look and to beg, blah, blah, even though you have plenty of money, but you get access to the best in no time. And that efficiency in this world is tremendously relevant because our competitors, the Chinese, the Japanese, the Americans, they do it better. So, we're just leapfrogging them. Efficiency.
You've become a kind of European knowledge hub in that sense. Do you find that there's a lot of collaboration and exchange between the startups that you've fostered?
There is collaboration within the ecosystem. So today we have, as far as EIT Energy is concerned, we have 2,000 partners across the board. Again, financial institutions, industry, research centers, universities, you name it, across out of the 27 member states, maybe 21, where we're heavily present. The collaboration needs to have a goal. And the goal is, again, to have the energy transition happening at pace, at speed, and to reindustrialize Europe. when you bring people around the table for the same goal, then collaboration happens. Collaboration doesn't happen because you tell people to collaborate. It's because you share a goal that you contribute to. And this is what we've been able to craft over the last 14 years and has been recognized by the Commission on what we call the mandate of the strategic value chains. So since 2017, the Commission has identified that value chains, so all the players across the value chain, if I take batteries again, from mining to recycling, by collaborating together, they reach their goals, that is to create an industry of batteries in Europe much quicker and much more efficient. And we got the mandate to lead that value chain in batteries, and then in PV, and then in hydrogen. And this is the gist of it. It's not collaborating for collaborating, it's collaborating for what? And once you agree on the goal together, collaboration comes as a no-brainer.
That network that you've built is really comprehensive, and I think that it certainly seems like you're paving the way for the rest of the EIT KICs. What would you say that InnoEnergy looks for in startups and scale-ups? How are the impact metrics for climate and energy, and particularly for a kind of like public interest, public service kind of bent? How are they different than other sectors?
Well, when we select any of our targets, and use the word target, is because they contribute to at least one of three KPIs. If they contribute to three, then the better. The first one is the CO2 abatement. We all know that climate change, one of the causes is the CO2 emissions, and that today the 50 gigatons of CO2 that we emit in the air are just increasing the temperature of the planet. So all our startups, they have to contribute to CO2 abatement. That's the link to the social on your question. The second KPI is to reduce the cost of energy. We are a firm believer that the cost of electron will be marginal in the future. And when I say marginal, I say very marginal. And what can you do today with an electron at almost zero cost or extremely affordable cost? You can do anything. Remember that 27% of everything that we have in front of us today, our pullover, our computer, 27% is energy cost. If the energy cost is close to zero, is again a marginal cost, then the world will look like completely different. You can desalinate the seas, you can water the Sahara. And that's something that, again, is a KPI and that all of our investments normally fulfill. And the third one is the deployment of renewables. Again, we want energy, but we want energy that is decarbonized. So whether it's renewables or it's fusion, then that will solve the game. Not everybody, of course, ticks the box of the KPI on the fusion side. So those three KPIs are the ones that they have to tick the box for us to invest. And so far, the contribution of our portfolio, for example, in one of them, that is the CO2 abatement, is 1 gigaton abated by our ventures. 1 gigaton, Europe emits 4 gigatons of CO2 per year. So there's a tremendous impact, a tremendous contribution that we're doing.
These questions are being so hotly debated. I hear them every day from Tech.eu readers. There's such a real interest in climate and investing smartly in climate and kind of cutting through the hype. I'd love to know, looking forward at the future over the next 5 years, what are the key focus areas for EIT? How do you anticipate the energy landscape changing, and what do you think are the most important innovations that you're going to be drilling down on?
For the next 5 years is not about innovating anything new. It's going to be mostly deploying the current innovations. Sometimes in Europe, we are chasing the next best thing of slicing bread. Well, now it's about slicing bread with the technologies and innovations that we have today. We need to deploy at scale to be able to transform the economy and the industry in Europe. So between now and 2030, our focus is on deploying what already is pretty much in commercial stage, because we needed to decarbonize the steel making. Today, we have the technology to decarbonize steel. Today, we are not decarbonizing it. It's 80 million tons of steel that are produced every year. And remember, 1 ton steel, 2 tons of CO2. The same with fertilizers. The same with the PV manufacturing of PV in Europe. So we don't import 99% from China. So the name of the game is deployment. In deployment, you also sometimes have got innovation that is what we call business innovation. It's not technological innovation, But that's another, we could talk for hours on this. Again, the name of the game is deployment.
Deployment. Okay. I'd love to, if you could illustrate a little bit more how you're making this happen, or how you plan to make this happen, because I think that InnoEnergy has become a reference point for the entire industry, particularly in Europe. You're kind of a landmark organization, and I'd love to know what you're thinking about in terms of, maybe other future partnerships or kind of future forms of collaboration, or what you're looking at in the next 5 years.
First, I will go a bit to the DNA and then the future partnerships. On the DNA, what makes us different is that we love risk. We love to look beyond. We don't see a wall, we see a door to the next door. And this is a DNA that is very rare, because any company, as soon as it has assets or employees, then they try to preserve the status quo, because again, they have a lot of responsibilities attached to what they have. Our role is, again, to break walls, to change the game by being having extremely high risk appetite. And that's extremely, so on the partnership, that was your question, anybody that's got this risk appetite will be a perfect partner for us. Are there many around the world? There are few, but only those bold players will be able to change the game. And to change the game, sometimes it hurts, because you have to deconstruct existing industries to reconstruct new ones that will be greener and much more efficient. But that's the type of partnerships that we look for and they are entertaining, not to be disclosed in this interview, for the years to come. But again, it's risk takers, bold.
That's a really revitalizing point to end on, Diego. Thank you so much for your time, and thank you to EIT for sponsoring this interview.
Thank you, Lucy. Bye-bye.
Perfect. Cool.